So I've enjoyed this. I've spent a good amount of time talking to this camera, and I think I'll do it again some other time, maybe. And it's brought to mind some things I hadn't thought about in a while, which is interesting. I was thinking about things that I think about all the time. I don't know if you're like me and you have things that are your happy memories or things that you think about when you're sad or things that make you feel better. Um, Sometimes I'll go through ups and downs where, like, this will be my happy memory, but now that person who was my happy memory is working with somebody who treated me poorly. So it's like, no, you're not on that show. And I have to be like, no. But yeah, I'm dealing with it and just being like, it's a blessing to have been upset by so many people, really, and to upset so many. Um, but just thinking about, like, wow, you've been around, you've lived this life for a second, and sometimes I think that I really struggle with the pointlessness of it all. It's a but luckily, I keep the hope alive in the sense of seeing how much change has occurred in my time so far, and hoping in the future that that change will be more effective and meaningful for myself and for other people. Right? That'll mean that I can get an apartment easier as a black person and living in super liberal areas, and I can't, right? Because liberals are just as racist, if not more, than conservatives. Yeah. And so being able to deal with that reality and just move into a space where I'm not living in fantasies just felt fantastic, and to kind of reflect on these stories, it gives you both. One of my favorites to think about, and I'm thinking about it right now, I can see it in my mind's eye, and it's so hard because it's like, it's an image that basically it's crystallized. This memory is crystallized, but also kind of joined with another memory of an image. And so the image is Da Vinci's, the Anatomy of Man, stretched out with the guy, and then also kind of Michelangelo's, the touch, right, of God that is in the Sistine Chapel, like these fingers, if you will, and then they're all kind of superseded by this one image of the most loveliest, longest fingers ever, like sci-fi style fingers grabbing this basketball. And you just think, there's no way you're getting that ball, right? And the tip of the finger, it just brings it back, and it's like the tip of the finger controls an entire basketball. It's like the tip of the finger is like the most excellent thing. And the tip of the finger belongs to Kobe Bryant, who I got to see play a bunch when I was a young kid at UCLA, and he used to come to the gyms and play with a bunch of other superstars when he was young. And we would just sit there in the gym, as quiet as mouses, and try not to draw any attention because we were getting to see like Kobe play with Magic for free, and like you don't even get to see that. I mean, right? It's not even happening in the world, right? Because Magic's retired. And then, like, one time Larry Bird came, and we were like, "Oh my God!" Like, we like lost our whole minds, like, And I've been a fan of basketball for just a really long time. So when Kobe Bryant kind of came on the scene, it was like, "What's happening? Like, there's something happening. This is something new. Like, he's, you know, this is smack talking." you know and there really haven't been that many people who were coming in who just like upset and disrupted the sport, basketball, as much as Kobe Bryant. And so it was really amazing, to see him play, and that was something that I it's in my room. One of the rooms in my brain has him playing forever, and I go there and watch whenever I want. Another room has Aretha Franklin. Did a couple concerts with her for charity, while I was working with the Duchess in New York. And of course, we always mean the Duchess of York. Sorry, there are other Duchesses, but there's only one for me, as far as one that I worked for and hold in the greatest esteem, and just think is fantastic as far as how much has she's been able to accomplish for moms and kids and people who need support in this world. And so, getting to do an event where Aretha Franklin came out and sang with, we did one with George Michael and Aretha, and one with Aretha by herself. And I was assigned to interview Aretha if possible, which meant that I stayed in Aretha's waiting room, just basically she had her own kind of chambers of rooms where she was preparing with her people. And there was another chamber room directly outside of it where a whole bunch of people had nice chairs that we were all sitting in case there was a chance we could see Aretha. I mean, those nice people are like Clive Davis, Roger Friedman, who I love, like my favorite columnist. Showbiz 411. Okay. And so it's like all these people, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm sitting there with like my camera, and we're just like waiting, hopefully, hoping, and we eventually did get to interview, but the lighting, she didn't want to do lighting. It was terrible. It was just really great to meet her and say thank you for being able to support. So she had supported so many activists. Like I had heard the stories, from many, many people over the years of how much she had done to help everybody in activism as Black people. And so I was really like just excited to meet somebody like that. And I really kind of, I knew like the basics, like RESPECT, natural woman. I got some basics, but I don't really know much. And so then when she came out and played the first time I saw her, and she was wearing this white fur coat, and she played this piano, and I didn't know she played piano like Liberace or better. And I was like, yo, what? Like, what? And like everybody was standing around, like we're all like just going, do you see this? It's like literally the best thing we've ever seen. Like, have you ever seen anybody this good? And like everybody there had never seen somebody that talented like in person, right? Like of being able just to play so splendidly while singing and then to sound like that. It was, I don't know how to explain it. I mean, you could listen to it, but it's not the same, as when you got to see it in person and hear it, because it got into your bones. It's like you could hear it bouncing off your soul, kind of thing, So after that, I like listened to every single thing she ever did. I was like, well, listen. And then the next time she came and did an event with the Duchess, I was like, listen, I've really got her good. She was like, oh, you. I was like, you probably know I listened to you now, and I know who I'm dealing with. But I didn't have the full like level of respect that I needed to have, And so she's somebody who I keep in my prayers and my thoughts of just a wonderful, amazing talent that, whoa, like, hey, inside my brain, I'm just happy to hear somebody, and the way she loved Jesus was real, like real. And so it was like, wow, this is a person who loves God, who loves the people around her, and she's like, she had like this whole family entourage situation, and they're all like in furs and pearls. I was like, oh, this is the bomb. And they all came in with McDonald's, like huge bags of McDonald's, like salads from McDonald's. I was like, oh, because they make the best salads sometimes, And I was like, man. So, I was really grateful to have that experience with her. That was about 2011. No, 2007, because she died, right? So yeah, it was 2007. And I think she started to stop, performing as much after that. Maybe it was 2008. Sometime in that place. I think it was probably 2007. But, this was before the kind of recession really got going. But it was really nice to have that experience. And, it's nice to have people like Kobe and Aretha inside my head. And I always say, thanks so much to the Duchess and to people like her who give, folks who don't have those type of experiences a chance to put our foot in the door and show what we can do to help draw attention and raise awareness for really important causes. And so I really stand by that. And I was lucky enough to walk away with some really cool memories to have for forever.